As an adult, this happened back in 1994. He served his time. He's been released. Now he's doing something really remarkable. He is working to change what has really become an unfamiliar world to him because it all changed while he was in prison. Best-selling local author Claudia Rowe is here. Your new book, Time Out, tells Willard's story. Let's backtrack just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the crime he was convicted for. In
1994, when Willard had just turned 13, he was still just barely 13. He was tried and convicted as an adult, despite being 13. Tried and convicted of first-degree murder for an event that was a lot more common probably in those days. In 1994, the Central District was a very different place from what it is today. Willard had been out late on the street with a bunch of kids and sort of they were kids. They were 13 years old and 14, and there was just a brawl, a melee. He shot a girl in that brawl, though he didn't even know her. It was really just an absolutely impulsive event. There was another shooter as well, who also shot this young girl. She was 14. Her name was Jamie Wilson. The older person who shot her, he was about 25. He also was tried and convicted of first-degree murder, but of course he was 25 years old and had a lengthy rap sheet. Willard, as I said, was just barely 13, and he was sent into the adult prison system with a 23-year sentence.
And the world changed around him, basically, without him knowing a lot of things that changed. So what was time like behind bars for him?
The concept of the story is about the notion of missing, and it is part of a collection published by Amazon that with many different takes on the idea of missing. So Willard missed the absolute transformation of Seattle between 1994 and 2014. He served 20 years of his 23-year sentence. Seattle changed. Communications and technology completely changed. When Willard went in, fax machines were cutting edge. When he came out, it was the world we know today. And Seattle was a completely different metropolis. And also Willard, of course, missed all the normal sort of growing up building blocks that you do. You learn to pay bills and go on a date and drive a car and all these things that we take for granted. Willard was locked up during much of that time.
That's incredible to think about that. And then coming out, what he's doing is even more incredible, it sounds like to me.
You know, I think that many people, Willard did a fair amount of time in solitary also, because at the beginning he was extremely angry and fought a lot. So you might think, I think many would assume that a person coming out of that kind of situation, so stunted, so intellectually stunted, would come out deeply stunted and possibly insane. Willard is in no way stunted or insane. He is working diligently and dedicatedly to help divert other young people who maybe become involved or be involved with the court system from the kind of path that he took.
And working with the prosecutor's office in doing this.
The prosecutor's office that, in fact, put him away has now seen Willard as exactly a redemptive story. Willard is working with an organization called Credible Messengers. This is national. There are very strong branches of the Credible Messengers in Washington, D.C., New York City, and other places. It's just beginning here in King County, and they are credible messengers. They are, in general, men who have done significant time, who come out, and it's not just sort of a haphazard volunteer effort. These are men who are paid for their expertise, for what they know, and for what they can impart to young people. It is a job. It is truly a job, and it also helps them reintegrate back into a very different society.
I loved your first book. I'm excited to read your second book. It's available on Amazon for download. If you're a Prime member, it's free. It's $1.99. If you're not, it's called Time Out by Claudia Rowe. Claudia, thank you for being here.
Travis, thank you always.
A pleasure always. MJ, over to you.
Wow, I want to read that. And your earlier book. I haven't read that yet. Darn. All right. Hazy.